great to see you. Okay, so I thought we would start with what I sort of start with every morning, just to get my mechanism sort of organized. Everything for me is based on air and breathing. So if you take 2 fingers and just breathe, suck the air through your fingers, and just be really mindful of where you're feeling that expansion happening. And then just dump it out as if you're tipping a bucket of water over on the ground. Feel how nice and warm that is. We'll just do like 2 or 3 of those. So that should feel pretty open and relaxed and free and simple. And if you're doing it right, if you do 4 of them, you'll probably get a head spin. So head spins are not the worst thing that can happen to you. So we'll do the same thing now, breathing on your fingers and then just blowing it through the back of the mouthpiece, just to build up a little bit of resistance. So just focusing on just moving that air as simple, natural, easy as you can. All right, so we're going to start with a bit of buzzing. Very, very simple, focusing on that same feeling as that you had with the airstream. So So as you go lower, you want to just give more airstream, just let that open up and really focus that the air is doing the work, that you're not trying to make a really compact buzz. The buzz will happen on its own. You want to have your lips inside the mouthpiece nice and relaxed, but the air is the thing that's doing all the work. Fantastic. All right, so next thing I sort of like to do in my warm-up is a little bit of chromatic scale stuff, just to keep things moving and to just check that my airstream is operating. We can go back to the mouthpiece. I like to, early in the session, to just keep getting back to the feeling of my breathing and blowing. So just checking that I don't have any tension in my chest. And then we transfer that starting on middle C. We're going to go down augmented fifth. And then I do this one flutter tongue. So what flutter tongue does is it obviously puts a large impediment of your tongue flapping around in between the airstream and the horn. And it really makes sure that your airstream is supported and going straight into the instrument, and that you're keeping good stability in your chops. So this is a loud one, so forgive me if it's too loud. checking for this open feeling. So you'll feel engagement probably about that far above your belly button, maybe a little bit further, where you're feels like you're sort of squeezing a little bit and engaging the airstream. That's terrific. Particularly happens with the flutter tongue. We're going to keep that engagement, and then just underneath that, we're going to have a little bit of a bounce. So we're going to sort of huff each of these notes. And then the last one is when you're going to combine that airstream just with the articulation. So the tongue is not doing the work, the air is doing the work, the air is making everything happen, the tongue is just coordinating. Down a half step. So just to recap, the order is legato twice and relatively soft, then flutter tongue, huffing, and then all together with the tongue. Really, really simple. Just focusing on that feeling. That's what you want to be putting into the horn, not worrying too much about trying to control the sound or trying to make sure that everything's feeling nice or sounding nice. We just want to go for this feeling of moving the airstream. All right, so to continue this, what I like to do next is just a bunch of repeated notes, very simple exercises to make sure that I'm still establishing my airstream and that things are moving nice and relaxed. So my warm up, for those of you who don't know, is pretty simple. And then at the beginning, and then we gradually expand. And it can get as difficult as you like as we go, but I want to make sure that I'm establishing the right habits for me. So that's based on moving the airstream. So we're going to start on middle C. We're just going to play 2 notes without articulation and 2 notes with articulation, with breath in between. So we'll just trade off. So I'll play one, then you play one. And again, this one you can start off doing this one if you wanted to, just with the mouth piece. So, and then add the tongue, just to check that you've got that feeling and moving in. All right, we are going to fly over to Munich and visit with Casey Rippon. Casey Rippon is the great star of Australian horn playing, and she has been in the opera orchestra in Munich for, I'm going to guess this, I'm going to get this wrong, but I'm going to say like 8 years.
9, 10.
Oh, that's right, because you joined the same time as I joined the LA Phil.
Yeah, 2011.
Yeah, same for me. So yeah, I mean, Casey is a member of one of the great orchestras in the world, and it's a phenomenal orchestra and one of the most beautiful buildings that you get to play in. It's nice. So Casey is an amazing low horn specialist, and so she is going to give us something that I'm excited.
Okay, I think it might actually be one of yours, but this is usually how one of the earlier things that I do in the day, but I'll try and do it. And that's it.
Fantastic. So I have a question that I'm sure everyone would like the answer to. So I'm assuming that that goes either side of your break.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
Yeah. So how do you deal with getting over your break in an exercise like that? What are you thinking about?
I'm only thinking about the air, and I'm trying not to focus too much on what I'm doing or how it sounds.
Cool.
Because I think if you focus, especially, well, that's my problem. If I start thinking too much about what I'm doing, I start not being able to do it anymore.
Right. Great. Okay.
But yeah, I'm thinking obviously about my setup a little bit, but it should be, if I'm thinking only about the air, mostly it works.
Great.
I hope.
Yeah, that's really, really good. Okay. Great. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you.
We're going to go back to repeated notes in the low register. And this is, I spend a lot of time in my warm up in the low register because of two things. One, because it's early in the day. It's a register that, you know, is a good one to get going. But two, it's actually really where I need to spend most of my time because it's my weakest area in my playing. And so, yeah, I tend to make sure that that's a focus early in the day. And then throughout the day, I'm doing a lot of low practice because if I don't, it sort of evaporates like a puddle in the middle of the desert. So we're going to do repeated note pattern starting on a low G for horn. And we'll just alternate. So we play a half note, then two quarter notes, and then we gradually speed that up, and then you'll pick it up. Don't worry. So we'll start on a low G. do that one through the mouthpiece, through the back of the mouthpiece, just so that we're really feeling. So following along, I'm going to steal what Casey was saying and just say, just to focus on the air, just to make sure that the air is what we're really embracing in terms of our process. So we're going to take everything out of it and just focus on that. So. And we'll stop there because otherwise people will start falling over. If you're a little bit lightheaded, that's probably a good thing, I think, at this point. All right, so let's go to F. We can stay on the F horn or B flat horn. It doesn't really matter, but we want to focus on that feeling we've just established. Did anyone find it easier after we've blown through the back of the mouthpiece and fuller sound? Yeah, I find that too. So it's just a good reminder for us that, you know, a lot of the time when we're doing a lot of playing, we can get sort of wrapped up in what's going on in our face or our tongue or, you know, some tension, and just coming back to the mouthpiece or a straw, if you have a straw. This is basically these exercises, the really static ones, are just designed for us to get our air and our tongue coordinated. Casey's exercise is fantastic because it gives us flexibility, and then it's coordinating the tongue with that flexibility. So this is great. So we're going to do a little bit more of that. So we're going to start really simple repeated note scale, starting on middle C. And again, focusing on engaging the air. We can go back to the mouthpiece. Is basically the air profile of that exercise. Just feeling as though you're just releasing the air nice and simple. The other thing with blowing through the mouthpiece is actually set your corners in the right spot. And it gives you a really nice cushion. So if you flip the mouthpiece around and put the corners in the same spot as when you buzzed, as when you blew through the mouthpiece, you're gonna get a really good position for your corners, really nice and forward and together. So. All right, we're going to pop back to Jenna Breen to see if she's got anything for us.
I'm just going to do the bending one. It starts on F in open B flat. And I add a scale to mine just so it kind of like gets you in the habit of playing those notes after you've kind of set the embouchure up that way. I'll leave it there. F sharp's cruel.
Really great. I'm very envious. I shouldn't actually get low horn specialists to do exercises. Just it's brutal for me. So I have another question along these lines. So this again is going over the break as you're heading down for me. What are your thoughts in this exercise? What are you thinking about? What are your goals?
I'm thinking about, I probably didn't demonstrate this super well, but I'm thinking about bending it until it kind of pops onto the next harmonic. So you're not like creating the embouchure to get the note, it just kind of like finds it naturally. My break is on low C, so I find the C one really hard because I'm like at the very bottom of my upper break on that low note. But for that I have to like be really stable, and then when I switch, it's like no problem, it fixes everything. But like when I'm right on the break, I just have to be really stable.
And on the scale, how do you make that change? Like
How do I make it change?
You have to make a change, like if you're going from say G down to
Oh yeah. I don't know. I just try to blow through it, I guess, and think about the notes on the other side of the break because I know I can play those ones.
So these exercises are designed for us to help get over this break area and be as efficient as possible. Okay, terrific. Let's do a little bit of flexibility. These are from another Australian, great Australian, and probably the grandfather of Australian horn teaching and horn playing, Alan Mann. So Alan Mann was Barry Tuckwell's teacher. For those of you who don't know, he also taught my teacher, who is Patrick Brislin, and then obviously numerous generations of Australian horn players are influenced by him. So Alan Mann. Right. So we go back up to the concert B flat. It's a good question about embouchure. So for me, I want my corners always to be stable in the same position. It's like it's on little rails, sort of sliding up and down a little bit. idea that I have that helps me to stay compact and stable is to feel the inside of my cheek against the side of my teeth, constantly sort of locked into that. If you do that, it generally brings everything in together and you'd end up sounding like this and you talk a little bit strange. But it definitely helps to keep everything nice and narrow and forward. I find one side or another wants to detach from there and I get a bit floppy. The left side of my face is a little weaker than the right side. Most of us will have that. One side will be, you'll find there'll be a weak spot. So just focusing on that in this exercise is really good for me to help keep this stability in my embouchure. The other thing with breathing, if you have a look at Jenna and Casey when they breathe, you'll see that their face stays quite relaxed, and their movement generally is this way when they're breathing in. It's more of a drop or just a very relaxed position rather than, and I fall into this trap too, so don't watch me together. Breathing in this way. If we pull sideways, you get this sound. Can everyone hear that sound, that horrible sound? So that's it's very, very difficult for you to breathe deep and low and full if you make that sound. In fact, that sound is an indicator that you're breathing quite high and that the air is hitting the back of your throat. So if you can think of sort of keeping relaxed in your setup and forward, and we get that deeper feeling, that's going to really help you to move the air faster when you blow out and move it nice and freely and open. Excellent. Terrific. So again, all this warm-up is focusing on is making sure that we're setting up our mechanism as simply and as natural as we can. Good breathing, nice, relaxed airflow, and just checking in if you're holding any tension. I discovered halfway through that one that I was holding some tension in my chest because I was focusing on trying not to screw up instead of focusing on breathing and blowing. So I can, once I'm aware of that, I can release it. We're going to do the scale pattern. It's been terrific to spend an hour with you guys. Thank you for coming back. We're going to be doing this for another 7 weeks after this. So tell your friends, you know, tell other instrument groups if they want to come along, but tell other horn players. It'd be great to see more people here. And thank you so much to Casey and Jenna for their terrific input. I learnt a lot today. How to play live horn. Sorry?
My pleasure. Thank you.
Right. So we've covered Seattle to Los Angeles to Munich this morning, which is, we're doing pretty well. So as the tradition is, we need to do the elephant. You know who I reckon would be really good for this because he's a good sport and he's always prepared. You know who I'm talking about, Daniel. Daniel Omer is going to give us the elephant warning.
Oh, this is going to be amazing. All right, we're going to get into the jungle here. Here we go.
Awesome. just before everyone gets going, that's fantastic. Thank you, Daniel. So for those of you who are not familiar with the elephant, that was the elephant. Not Daniel, the
I am the elephant.
was the elephant. So the idea of this one is to move air really fast as you go higher. So we're increasing the air speed as we're going higher and staying flexible in your tummy to give the bounce on the way down. So, and we're continuing to really support on the way down. So really nice and stable with the embouchure. Tongue is just coordinating with the bounce of the tongue. And it was perfectly demonstrated by Daniel.
Oh, that's very generous. Thank you.
The gallery will give it a go, and then we'll go back to you, Dan.
Okay.
Daniel, thank you so much.
Thank you. Nice job, everyone.
Awesome. So thank you, everybody. Thanks for coming. Great to see you. Check out the IM community page for the files for the exercises that we did today and previous ones that we've done over the summer. We'll put the recording of this up there as well, and look forward to seeing you very soon. Have a great week. Thanks, everyone.